Le Mans Ultimate's June update is finally here, so let me take you through this very big update that's going to take up 4.6 gigabytes. So to start with, let's talk about the known issues. So the full formation lap at Sebring automatically disqualifies the driver when they pass the pit lane before the race goes green. When in 2x2 formation, before speed limits are shown, the UI does not tell the user when they are out of position, and this results in penalties. The user should stay close to the red barrier. In this situation, to avoid penalties, drivers should maintain a steady speed and be 2x2 during this phase. The Race Hub plugin from Azatec is currently causing crashes, and it's recommended to disabling it till it is updated. I'll put the exact .dll of that plugin on screen. Moving on to replays, which is a brand new feature that they're going to be adding and is now in the game. So replay controls are now available in the 3 sections of Le Mans Ultimate. You can access them during a race through the watch option on the monitor screens by using the instant replay keybind, which is by default the R key, and while on track in the race weekend, and by loading into past sessions via the main menu. Another new feature is the driver labels. So the driver labels have been introduced, displaying a driver's name above the car. This feature offers customization options in gameplay settings, allowing you to choose when the labels are shown, whether during single player, multiplayer, or always. Additionally, you can easily toggle this feature on and off while on the track by simply pressing the tab key. Another new feature is the radar. So the proximity-based radar has been added into the HUD to offer users insight on possible hazards, blind spots, and challenging corners when navigating the track. This is optional and can be turned on and off in the settings menu, and it shows on track cars and cars active in the pit lane. It only shows cars very close to the user, and it shows yellow when the car is nearby and red when alongside and close enough to be nearly colliding. So for those people that are using tiny pedal, you don't really need to use the radar function in that anymore. Next is the improved race starts. So race start procedures have been reworked and improved to provide a clearer experience, and this includes a few UI elements to help ensure the driver is in the correct location on the track and follow the rules of the formation lap. So there are new HUD elements for instructions during formation laps and improved penalty management. So for that, the drive-through penalties for poor behavior, however, allows users to get back into position in the case of a minor incident, disqualification for extremely poor behavior, and disqualification for leaving the pits before red lights when not taking the start. This is due to potential to make extreme amounts of time up. They've also improved the management of drivers not taking the start on the line. They've also improved the management of cars being slow or crash and allowing the field to pass them without penalization. The management of crash or exceptionally slow cars and being allowed to pass them. They've disabled the damage before the race starts, and the green lights show on screen in the HUD, and the audio prompts for going to the grid and when the green flag is shown. Moving on to a bit on setups, because they've now partnered with Coach Dave to expand the setups, which will be available for free for all the players for hypercars, with more due in the future. Now for network improvements, they've mention a bit of the netcode. They're saying that they've improved and refactored the netcode. This might not be immediately noticeable to everybody. It will lay a more robust groundwork for the development team to incorporate upcoming features and fixes. And talking of fixes, let's move on to the general fixes and improvements. So some general stuff first. They've added the ability to fill grids. This will run with a higher number of entries in classes with the most unique cars possible. So Hypercar class will run with the 2023 Le Mans grid and unique hypercars from 2024, so the BMW, the 12 Porsche, and the 83 Ferrari. The LMP2 and GTE classes will load 2023 Le Mans grid with this setting, and the game will balance enabled classes evenly for the size of the track. They've done improvements to the car select screen, so they've added the ability to select cars by year. They've condensed the car selection icons to only show the current car. They've added the Thrustmaster LCD support. They've also added a timeout on opening mass files, so if they become corrupted, the game does not stay forever stalled. And there's also various crash performance and micro freeze fixes as well. As for gameplay, they've disabled the blue flag penalization by default. They've added the ability to adjust what position cars are on track to enable blue flag at pit exit. This ensures the light is accurate at the Spa pit exit, and also the user cannot drive until the field has passed. There's a fix for timing to work correctly on the first lap out of the pits when paddock is not spot near the start-finish line. They've fixed issues with fixed setups not applying correctly online. They've fixed an issue where a player's car would not rotate in the pit box if there was another immediately behind. They've disabled the automatic fuel suggestion after pitting, which would result in hypercars having their fuel ratio incorrectly changed. They've adjusted grids on fast rolling starts so they are more spread out. They've scaled down the strength of the steering help so that what was previously low is now high. Moving on to graphics and visuals, the onboard cameras will now show interior correctly of cars so you can see mirrors and the wheel display. They fixed mirrors being white at night when disabled. There is a fix for path-based cameras jumping around on switching to them first frame. A fix for a car joining the server, changing your view when looking behind. And they've also fixed issue swapping from borderless to windowed. For physics-based changes, they've added the physics calculations for the front wing stall. They've added tyre slip curve elements, and they've also added something to ensure LMDH always have the SOC or the state of charge when in pits. They've disabled damage when in the pit box, so other cars hitting you will not damage you but will damage them. And they've also fixed an issue with motor maps not working as intended. As for AI, a couple of changes here. They've fixed sudden AI crashes at times, such as when crossing the start line on restarts, and they've fixed AI above 100% not being as fast as they should. For the UI and HUD, they've fixed an issue with being able to exceed 100% in the player's profile for various stats, for example DNFs. They fixed the order of cycling of the MFD. They fixed negative sector times showing on MFD. They've improved the cockpit readout options with the ability to align and force units. They've disabled translations on cockpit displays. They've fixed the motor map and regen levels not displaying. They've refined the driver name abbreviations in UI and HUD. They've done a fix for time zones showing wrong time in the event schedule with various other UI fixes. Now on to the car updates. So for hypercars, they've rebuilt the tyres using the latest updates, and this improves the accuracy of the carcass stiffness as the tyre heat is generated. Also includes a better way to simulate incorporate masses from the inner liner. The tyre warm-up has also been slightly increased as part of the changes, and they've also implemented new code feature which allows contact pressure sensitivity to be altered at different sliding speeds and temperatures. The result is the tyre produces better feedback. The tyre also grips up with a different characteristic, particularly as the tyres warm. For the Orica LMP2, they've updated the tyres using the latest updates, and this improves the accuracy of the tyre's carcass stiffness as heat is generated. Also includes a better way to simulate from the inner line by incorporating masses, built up to a high level detail to be more in line with the hypercar tyres, meaning stiffness and contact patch profiles are more accurate. The tyre has a tighter overall lateral or longitudinal spring rate due to a small change in construction, which helps reduce the optimal slip angle to be more accurate. They've also activated the feature already present in hypercar tyres that ensure the slip curve has more realistic drop-off beyond the peak. And finally, they've implemented a new code feature which allows contact pressure sensitivity to be altered at different sliding speeds and temperatures. The result is the tyre produces better feedback. Tyre also grips up with a different characteristic, particularly as the tyres warm. I recognise LMP2 and hypercars were very similar, but there were some slight differences between those two updates for the tyres. For GTE, they've applied the latest tyre model slip curved elements which were previously only on hypercars, ensuring a more accurate drop-off beyond the peak slip angle. Additionally, low temperatures tyre performance has been slightly reduced, ensuring more caution must be taken on cold tyres, and they have also implemented a new code feature which allows contact pressure sensitivity to be altered at different sliding speeds and temperatures, and thus produces better feedback. And the tyre also grips up with different characteristics, particularly as the tyres warm. Now, specifically for some of the vehicles in general for the hypercars, they've added the 2024 teams, they've added the track-specific tyre compound restrictions, they've added the 2024 tyres styling 2024 teams. Hypercars now use real-world per-track BOP as a new base for ongoing BOP updates. They've adjusted the air reference conditions for engine power curve, the adjustments to aero sensitivity to ride heights, the adjustments to engine throttle map, the adjustments to TC maps, updates to default settings. They've added the Coach Dave Academy setups, the new collision sound values. They've also changed the throttle input behavior for sample playback. And as you should know already by now, they have added the BMW M Hybrid LMDH for its initial release. For the Cadillac, they've fixed the small body mesh smoothing issue. They've also darkened the steering wheel HUD a little. For the Ferrari 499P, they've updated the seat movement limits they've updated the RPM LEDs to match optimal shift point. For the Glicken horse, they've adjusted driver LODs, updated the seat movement limits, they reversed the engine mixture map order, so 0 the lowest is now the safety car. They've adjusted engine power curve between idle and 4000 RPM. For the Peugeot 9X8, they have re-enabled driver LODs, updated seat movement limits, and added the 2024 team's Qatar only. For the Porsche 963, they've adjusted the driver LODs, updated seat movement limits, and fixed the front collision points being too forward. For the Toyota GR010, they've updated the seat movement limits and added the 2024 teams. For the Van Wall Volvo, they've updated the seat movement limits, fixed spelling mistake in low detail chassis LOD out, and reversed engine mix map order, so 0 the lowest is now for safety car. For LMP2, so the Orica, they've updated the seat movement limits, minor swingman cam fix, they've changed how they've displayed the differential settings in garage, a word instead of a sign. They've updated to the latest tyre, they've reduced AI wet front tyre wear, they've updated the default settings, adjusted diffusers sensitivity to ride heights, new collision sound values. They've also changed their throttle input behaviour for sample playback. Under GTE in general, the new V07 tyre model, they've added the new front wing sensitivity curve. They've allowed the ability to take no fuel during pit stops. They've updated the default settings, new collision sound values, changed throttle input behavior for sample playback. Now specifically for the Aston Martin Vantage, they've fixed raindrops not showing on the side windows, fixed body showing dirt all the time, and there's been a BOP adjustment, so plus 2% engine at Le Mans and minus 10 kilograms at Le Mans. There's also been another BOP adjustment of plus 5 litres of fuel capacity at non-Le Mans tracks and added the front wing stall effects. For the Corvette C8R, they've updated the seat movements and they've also adjusted the BOP, so plus 1% engine at Le Mans and plus 12.5 kilograms at non-Le Mans tracks and plus 4 litres of fuel capacity at non-Le Mans tracks. For the Ferrari 488, they fixed the number plate clipping at higher LODs. The BOP adjustment is plus 10 kilograms at Le Mans and plus 3 litres fuel capacity at Le Mans, with a 12.5 kilograms added on at non-Le Mans tracks, plus 4 litres fuel capacity at non-Le Mans tracks. They've added the new front wing sensitivity curve, a minor update to refueling time at Le Mans, and the onboard at 60 miles per hour bad sample loop has been fixed. For the Porsche 911 RSR, they've updated the seat movement limits, they've fixed the spelling mistake with the driver LOD. For the BOP adjustment, it's plus 10 kilograms at Le Mans, plus 2 litres fuel capacity at Le Mans, and plus 12.5 kilograms at non-Le Mans tracks, and they've also added a new front wing sensitivity curve. And finally for tracks, for all trucks they've updated the fast rolling start location recommended lines and fast rolling start grid spacing. And finally, the very last change of this update was specifically to Spa, where they've updated the pit exit blue light on track location, keeps pit exit closed for longer on race start. And that's it. That's the big beefy update that you got to Le Mans Ultimate today. What are your thoughts on the updates? If you've had a go, or if you've not, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below whether it's good or bad. And if you've enjoyed this video, found it helpful, found it informative, and like to see more content like this one, make sure you are subscribed. I'll be continuing covering all the Le Mans Ultimate updates, including all the patch notes like in this video, and I also cover other racing and simulation games. So if that interests you, you can stick around and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.